Welcome to Lead Like a Girl, where we are empowering everyday women through our stories. I'm your host, Jessica Smith, and I began this journey by sharing my life story. Now, I've joined forces with my longtime friends, Jamie and Coralyn, to keep this party going. We met many years ago as young sales girls in our 20s, driven and quickly rising to the top of our industry. As the years went on, life happened, and we all found ourselves in new companies and completely different industries, still striving for success in it all. Career, family, faith, fun. Now, it wasn't easy, but we never stopped moving. Get ready for our real conversations, inspiring stories, and our big life lessons as we share it all. The good, the bad, and the funny. Welcome to Lead Like a Girl.
We're already laughing.
We're moving on to stuff before we hit record.
Oh man, thanks for joining us another episode.
I got all my cuss words out in advance, so I'm good now, you guys, I think, a little bit.
This is such a great way to start our episode. Thanks for joining us on another episode of Lead Like a Girl. We're already laughing. We've got 15 minutes of solid content that didn't get recorded, so we'll have to try and recreate that. But I'm here. My name's Coralyn, and I'm here with my two friends, Jamie and Jessica. How are you, ladies?
Good,
Fabulous,
and I think it should be mentioned that you were singing before, very slightly before she hit record, so that's important.
I was singing, however, my voice is nothing to be listened to in a good way.
I loved
it. I am blessed with one of those memories that I remember lots of lyrics, lots of situations. God knew that I would exploit a singing voice in a bad way. I would be singing crappy karaoke. I would be doing things. I would just not use my voice in a healthy way. So you're like, you can rap. That's what you can do. That's my thing. Well, this started off in a different way than I was expecting. But Jamie, how was your week?
It's nuts. So I'm in a hotel room. I'm in Ohio. I'm in Cincinnati. I had they called it the mid-year meetup for the company, the new job that I have. It's very, very technical, sales oriented. It's really fun, but my gosh, I feel like my brain's fried because of all the things that I've learned. Like, I am a salesperson by trade, and today I built a building using CAD. I don't even know what I was doing, but I was stumbling my way through it. But yeah, I do have a so I'm in Cincinnati. When you guys go to a new city.
Wow, that was a lot. In that.
I know, I have a whole thing.
So many things. Do we need to mention what's in your coffee cup?
Yeah, I had one can of wine that I bought from the little bottle of wine. I got one. That's
no, you said it was a can. You said it was a can.
Yeah, like, you know what I'm talking about, like the can of wine. Anyway,
I love
when you go to a city and you have to eat the food that the city is famous for? Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, you go to Chicago and you get Chicago hot dogs or Chicago pizza, or you go to New York. So when you come
to Minnesota, you get lutefisk and casserole.
I was just about to say, is there a thing there?
Sweet corn in Iowa. Jessica, I remember you saying that you would like Chicago pizza sent to you, so I still remember that. I'm going to get you for that.
Thank you.
Anyway, so chili. Cincinnati's known for chili, the certain kind of chili. So today I went and got this Skyline chili, and it's essentially spaghetti with like a weird cinnamony kind of chili sauce, and then cheese and onions on top. It was quite the experience. So
was it good?
Right. I'm confused.
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
All of our
I'm not for sweet spaghetti. That's like a southern,
but also called a chili.
It was so different that I don't know yet. You know what I mean? Like, have you ever? Anyway, so I tried that today. That's how my day went. Hi, Jessica.
Oh no! I don't want to share my day. It was pretty.
Oh boy.
I'm just thankful. I'm thankful. It could have been worse. You know, I could have gotten ran over by a car. So it was fine.
That sounds horrible.
You look beautiful.
All right, so I'm going to take things off in a better mood. We're going to lighten up Jessica's attitude. We are going to do our first minute fast question.
Yes.
I tried to give you the question, and Jessica refused to listen. So this is going to be a completely authentic answer. So my question to kind of lead up what we're going to talk about today is, Tell me somebody who has a job that you're a little bit jealous of, like anybody. If that job, if you could get paid whatever you make now or more doing that job, like it doesn't matter, like salary not included, but what is the job that you're kind of jealous of or that you wish you had?
Are you asking me first? Or because Jamie
Yeah.
already knew the question. She had time to think about it. Well, I mean, I think everybody knows. I don't know if you're looking for a specific person or just a job, but as you know, my dream is to just travel the world and be a speaker on stages. So when I go places and I see women that are on the stage and they're there just kind of motivating, telling their story, and then you see them later on that night walking on the beach just because that's what they're there at this wonderful place, and doing their job, which is what they love, and that's talking and speaking to hundreds of thousands of people and motivating, encouraging. That's the one. That one. Yeah. So
I kind of wonder if a lot of motivational speakers would be like, we're not walking on the beach, my friend.
well, no,
After
the
they
one
get-
I'm talking about, I saw her walking on the beach. So, and if they're not, they're missing an opportunity because that's what I would be doing.
Oh,
good.
I can totally see that for you. Absolutely. You're already that girl. Yeah.
So what do you got, Jamie, since you had time to think about this?
I did. You know, it's so funny. I did have time to think about it. And at first I was like, oh, remember when we used to go on all these awesome trips for work? And someone went out there and decided where we were going to stay and where we were going to eat and what's the excursion and all this. And they like planned that cool, fun thing. And I was thinking how cool that would be to just travel around and like figure it out. But then I remembered the cruise that I went on 2 years ago where I had to do that very thing for all of my aunts and uncles. And essentially I had to babysit a bunch of 70-year-olds. And I did not like it. So I'm going to say my dream no, it's not for me.
Why don't you like babysitting 7-year-old people?
My daughter was like, oh my gosh, they don't know how to log into the kiosk. And I was like, it's me and you. We're just doing this.
Right.
Yeah. I have said a few times my dream job when I retire will be either to be a lunch lady at school or a bus driver for school. Because I just feel like
Wow.
I
That
know,
segued
like-
into like I took a right turn.
totally. I know.
But you know
I
what? That
want to
says a
drive
lot.
the school bus. I want to high five every kid that walks in and give them like a lollipop when they leave. Like that
Wow.
is like what I want to do. I want to be that lady. I want to be or give me
That's
a hairnet.
fantastic. I have never heard you say those words ever. You're gonna be like, here, I grew this for you. Eat it.
I know. I grew all.
That's
I'm a
awesome.
farmer. Yeah, no, I know it's so like out there, but honestly, if you said who would I be jealous of, it's the bus driver. I want to be the bus driver.
Wow.
What I want
That's
to do.
amazing.
That's awesome.
No, that says that it's just simple things. You know what I thought? If I had to say what I thought you would say like to have this like amazing farm and just run this
Oh,
farm with all these beautiful
Mhm.
things growing and all the
I
fruits
think
and
that's what I'll
vegetables.
do anyway. Yeah.
Oh,
but
right. So like
that's
she's like, I
kinda
got that. That's
already, I
checked.
got
It's
That'll
not a
happen.
dream. That happens.
Yeah, no, that's reality. We're going there.
Yeah.
All right, now I got to hear Cor since
Oh man. So my job that I would be that I am jealous of is to be a stand-up comedian. I think that would be so amazing. Like I think of like Nate Bargatze is one of my favorite comedians as of late. He is hilarious. He kind of coins himself as a clean comic, so he just talks about everyday things. No, he doesn't. He doesn't. He talks about everyday
I don't wanna
things.
do that.
I think Jamie and I went and saw him, and
He's really funny.
he's hilarious. And I'll tell you this one little quick story is that so when I was in, I'm gonna say probably 4th or 5th grade. I don't know. I was at my grandma's. My grandma had cable. We didn't have cable, but they had MTV. MTV had a 30-minute comedy hour, and I'm like 4th grade. I probably thought things were funny, but did not get the jokes.
Yeah.
Well, that year they were doing a talent show, and I thought, man, I would love to get up there and do stand-up comedy. And so I'm not even kidding you. I would tune into the half-hour comedy hour for like a couple times and try and write down their jokes really fast, the ones that I thought were funny. And it was just so fast. Like I couldn't get it done, but I had this notebook of half jokes. Like I didn't remember the punchline because I'm trying to write it down. And I just like, yeah. And so I never did it. And I wish that was my trajectory. Like I would absolutely love to be an effective, fun, good stand-up comedian. That's what I would.
I love that. Didn't you and Harrison do didn't you do like an improv class or something?
Yeah, it was so fun. That was so great. It was a blast. Yeah, I love performing. I love doing.
But Coralyn, every time we do an episode, I learn something new about you guys. And that's it. After all of these years. Oh, and there's always, so I did the same shit, except now this is where it's going to make it funny. So here was my motivation. I had a book of jokes and I was probably 10 years old.
You did?
Yes, I had and I'm talking about, this thing was good, but you want to know who my inspiration was?
Chris Rock.
Richard Pryor. I'm talking about, yes, Richard Pryor.
He's funny though, but he's funny.
Yeah, and I was 5 years old, and in our house, we used to sit and watch over and over and over and over again. Like Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy. So my book of jokes.
You used to watch Raw as a 5-year-old? Well, no wonder why you got a potty mouth.
No wonder the cuss words are coming out.
But the reason I don't have the book anymore is because my brother ended up finding the book, giving it to my mom, and highlighting every cuss word that was in there, which was a lot. And
he had time for that?
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, because he wasn't doing anything else. And I got in trouble, and the book was gone, and that probably would have been my start as a comedian. So seriously, that's hilarious. Yeah. Anyway.
That's great. I love that. I love that about both of you.
That is funny.
I'll listen to you while I'm driving the kids around.
Right. Well, that is a good segue into our topic of conversation today. So we are talking about side hustles and having an entrepreneurial spirit. And to kick this off, I did a little recon on this episode, and I want to read a couple stats to you. So did you know that 43% of women entrepreneurs right now started their full-time big careers as a side hustle? So almost nearly half of women entrepreneurs started it just as a little side hustle. And that more than 40% of side hustlers earn over $500 a month just doing this side gig. So it's a fantastic way to have extra income that comes in. And the other thing I thought was interesting is that it said that 65% of women say that their side hustle is driven by passion rather than necessity. So people are starting these side hustles and trying to explore different things, not just for financial reasons, but it's something that they're good at, that they're passionate about, that they just like doing, and they're testing the waters to see if this is something that's viable, that other people are interested in, and something that they can make money at. And the reason this is important for us is that all three of us have this entrepreneurial mindset, and over our course of time, we've all either started and it's going, or we've started and pivoted, but we've all started side hustles throughout our lifetime, or being inspired by some passion or some interest that we've had, and we've turned it into something, whether it's monetary or a learning experience. And we're going to talk about some of those things today. So to get started, let's just talk about that. I want you guys to tell me, what is a passion of yours that you have started either thinking about or have thought about turning it into a side hustle?
So I missed a little bit of that first part because we cut out a little bit. So
yeah,
can you repeat the question?
Sure. Yeah, tell me about. So we're talking about side hustles and being having an entrepreneur spirit. So
yeah,
tell me about your side hustles. We've already had this conversation. We know. Jamie, I will put you on the spot, and why don't you tell us about yours first?
I love to cook. I love to meal prep. I love to grow food. We've talked about that a little bit already. My goal forever has always been, and when I say forever, I'm going to say probably for 20 years, stemming from stories of my grandparents, has always been to grow all my own food, and raise my own food if possible, however much of my food I can. So I'm very passionate about that. And my mom and I both love to cook. And so we've always cooked together. We've always canned food. So, you make your own salsa, you make your own jams, pickle things. Like we've just always loved doing it. And and people like what we make, and I love feeding people. So anyway, my stepdad was an avid, he was a baker actually. So a great cook, a great baker, always had a great garden. Well, and that was something we all did together. So he passed away a few years ago. And when he passed away, he did not have life insurance. And so my mom was kind of left and no offense to him at all, but my mom was kind of left in a position where she was a little bit worried about like, how am I going to like move forward without this man? And so the idea was brought forth. My mom and I actually just both kind of talked about it. I'm like, Mom, everyone has said, why don't you guys cook? Why don't you guys sell your meals? Why don't you make a cookbook? Why don't you do this? And so we just talked about it, and we ended up making a side business that's meal. Essentially, it's meal prep. So we did it the right way. We have a commercial kitchen. I have a food license. We have proper labeling. We have, proper packaging and all that. We ended up putting out a menu once a week. People order food, and the thing I didn't expect from this is time with my mother, right? So it's like a mom-daughter business. So we get to plan our meals every week and plan our menu every week and cook together every week, which is really enjoyable for us. But, it takes, and I have more on this, but I don't want to take up a bunch of time. But essentially, it's our passion. We love to cook anyway. And my friend said, you're making meals for everybody anyway. Why don't you just make some money off of it? So yeah, that's what we ended up doing. We have a cooking business. We sell family-sized meals to folks. We have, I think, almost 400 people that are customers of ours at this point. And we've been doing it for 2 years. And
so awesome.
The thing is, it's helping people who don't have time to do it. And, they'll spend the same amount of money for a home cooked meal as they would for a meal out when they can just pick it up. And the best part, like I said, is it's time with my mom, and it's something I enjoy doing. So that's I don't know if that even answers the question. I think I went way past the question. Sorry.
No, it's exactly the question, because it lays the foundation of what we're talking about here today. Jessica, in terms of being entrepreneurial, side hustle, what do you got?
Well, first of all, let me just kind of take it back to the beginning. And that is, as some of you know my story, I was kind of born into the entrepreneurial world, kind of like you were saying, your grandparents. So for me, now I did not want to follow in the footsteps of my dad being a drug dealer, but I did see that
Jamie, that's not funny.
as he made a lot of money, a lot of drug dealers make money and spend money. My dad invested his money and retired out of the drug game, left that, and he owned a lot of property. But the biggest thing was that I always just remember him saying that I'm my own boss. That was, I'm the boss. And, he meant that in many different ways in our house. But I just always took from that he didn't work for anyone else. And when I was old enough to kind of know right from wrong, I just wanted to be those positive things that I saw. So I just always thought, I want to own a bunch of houses. I want to own real estate. And so that was always an interest of mine. And when the first opportunity that I was able to actually buy my first home, like we talked about a little bit, Coralyn, at a young age. And then when I sold it, I was like, wow, that's great. I made a little money and then got into the housing market in California. and turned the first condo into a rento and built another home. And as I'm seeing this, I'm like, I actually think this is great. And sometimes you have to sit on it a little longer. But that really made me have that goal that eventually I wanted to be a real estate investor. I've dabbled in it a little bit. I mentioned on one of my TikTok videos that I was taking a class. So I've done a lot of, I am like a multi-level marketing target. There must be something on my forehead that says
we talked about that. We kind of all are, but that's not a bad thing. I mean, I feel like a lot of people use that as their side hustle, and that is not a bad thing, you know?
Nope.
I think that's great.
Not hating on the multi-level marketing people. Like it's cool. If it works for you, it works for you.
Yeah.
And you know, I've made some money in it too. But not for me. So I just know that for me, side hustles are important. I like what you said, passion. I mean, this is something that we do. We're not going to get rich off of a podcast, right? But it's something that we're passionate about, helping people. And I just think that if people just depend on their 9 to 5, listen, I've been laid off multiple times. I'm sure a lot of people experience that. At the end of the day, corporate is corporate, and it's business. And so I just think that people should have something that they're passionate about, and maybe they make a little extra money, or maybe it turns into something big and they start their own empire. But I think everybody should find something that they could be able to do that with and have that backup, because I know it's come in handy lots of times for me.
Yeah. No, I would agree. I mean, I've mentioned in prior episodes, I went to school actually, and I have a degree in entrepreneurship, which doesn't mean for me specifically that I've started this conglomerate of businesses, but I feel like I always have an iron in the fire trying to test something out, come up, and I kind of do like a new widget, or can we invent something or whatnot. And I think that, not to get in all the big details of everything, but I've started a spray tan business. I've invested in real estate myself. I tried to invent what I wanted to call pajamas. When my little guy was wetting the bed, I wanted to invent pajamas that were absorbent, so I didn't have to clean up his mattress.
I'm so in love with that. How did I not know about that?
How did I miss that? Here we go again. You know what? I don't know. I'm going to have to check our friendship temperature
we're making
here.
Pajamas.
That is freaking hilarious. No, but
somebody already invented it. I did all this stuff, and apparently I didn't do the right Google search. Like, I'm not kidding, unless we came up with the idea at the same time.
Well,
like somebody
I
already
invented
had
TiVo, and then it came out. So, you know,
right?
I feel you.
I didn't invent anything. So we're good.
But
I'm right
so
on your
we've all kind of had these stories of where we just dabbled in things. The podcast is another one, like we've talked about. What do you guys think is what's the why for you? Why does this spur you on? Why are you passionate about this? Obviously, other than the opposite, or the obvious of, like, for Jamie, for example, it was a little bit of a financial. But what else does it do for you? What else does coming up with a business or pouring into this do for you personally or for others?
Freedom. Freedom. Because right now, the way I look at it is we are trading. Well, let me back up. What I learned over the years as I've gotten into my older age is that my most valuable asset is my time. That is the most valuable thing that I own, right? And so when I really came to that realization, it made me have a different perspective. And right now, when I go to work every day, what I am doing is I am trading my time for money. And I don't know about you guys, it's not enough. It's not enough. And I'm not saying that to say that I make pennies. I mean, I don't make millions, but it's not enough because I value my time more than what I'm getting paid, especially when I'm working as hard as I work, because I only know how to work one way. And I'm doing that for somebody else's family and someone else's legacy outside of my own. So that's my why. I want to be able to trade my time for my family legacy, not for a paycheck.
I love that. I'm going to piggyback on that a little bit because it relates to my why, which is I can do something that I like to do anyway, and I can monetize on the fact that other people don't have the time. So, super quick example: I make a homemade cold and flu remedy. Um, it works. I've given it to multiple people. At one point in my life, someone said to me, "Well, stop telling them how to make it. Like, they're not going to buy it from you if they know how to make it." And I said, "They don't want to make it." They don't want to make it. They don't have time to make it. They want me to bring them a jar of my cold and flu remedy and pay me $10 for
And then
this.
also rub it on my tummy, please.
Didn't do that, but
and I would pay more than $10. I don't want to be safe.
But you would, because you don't have the time. And if I gave you the recipe, you would not make it because you do not have the time for that. But if I'm doing it anyway, and I enjoy doing it, and it's something maybe I'm spending the afternoon having a relaxing, stress-free time in my kitchen where I'm like, I'm picking herbs and I'm making this and I enjoy this. I'm also getting paid for that. And I'm sort of, like I said, monetizing on the fact that you don't have time for this. So I can make money off the fact you don't have time for this, and I can provide you with something that I enjoy making anyway.
Yeah. Jamie, can you talk to us a little bit about how with your side hustle, because I feel like I'm your customer. If you lived in Minnesota, I would be buying those things from you because I don't make time to cook every day. Oh man, but I do want to be that mom that does. So I'm very aspirational, but I would be your customer. But how do you make time? Because you work just like we all do, 40, 45, 50 hours a week, whatever the number is, and then you find time for that. So how do you manage your time to make this work week in and week out?
I thought, you know what, I thought about this when you had talked about the topic, because I remember when I first started this, it was, of course, it was small, right? It was my mom and I spending time together, doing this and planning this and making this happen. And I found that I spent a lot of time accommodating for other people. And so I have had to dial it back and actually really be very strategic about my boundaries of how much time I'm putting into it. And because that work-life balance, correct? So I've got my full-time job, I've got my family. And so I had to be really strategic about making that schedule of, on Mondays, I have 2 hours that I have to do this. On Tuesdays, I have 2 hours that I have to do this. And then on Wednesdays, I had about 2 hours that I had to do something. And it actually was brought up to me. And actually it even was spilling into Thursdays and Fridays, right? And it actually was my significant other, my boyfriend, who said to me, "Well, why don't you try this?" And he made a suggestion to change kind of how I scheduled things so that I was essentially being as efficient as I could, where I was just, not to get too far into the weeds, but I made a change of where pickup and delivery was, for example, and it saved me a whole day. So I can now condense this whole business into essentially 2 hours, 2 days a week, instead of a few hours, 4 days a week. Just by thinking about it logically, and also thinking about it and putting my needs a little bit ahead. So again, like I said, you're really accommodating to your customers at first, and then you realize, okay, you know what? It's really not that big of a deal to ask them to pick up on Wednesday rather than Thursday. Yeah. That's going to save me a whole day of this. So I think it's so much of it is prioritizing and making those boundaries of whatever your work-life balance is going to be. Like and you have to stick to it. You can't, your family's going to suffer, right? When you're like, oh crap, I didn't get this done. So this is going to take me an hour and a half tonight on Wednesday. And that's our family night. And sorry guys. I mean, there's a point where your family is going to go, why are you doing this? You're only making $600 a month and your mom gets it all anyway. Why are you doing this? No, there's a reason why you're doing it. You just have to like really plan it out and like stick to your schedule.
Yeah, that's a great
point, Jamie. We could probably do a whole episode just on that. And I think that's probably a conversation that people should have in the beginning, because that's been a big pain point. And that is that there are sacrifices to be made. And if you're not willing to sacrifice your family for a period of time, I know that sounds harsh, then you probably don't even need to step into the ring, because it's what it is. But the thing about it is it's seasonal. You just have to have those boundaries, and you have to say, listen, I want to be realistic, husband, kids, this is just where we're at. But once it gets going and we're in our processes and we have boundaries and systems, but it's going to take time. So, and don't beat yourself up because you missed a family night or two, or because you didn't put the kid to bed. Everybody, I need you to suck it up, man up, because this is what we're doing and we'll figure it out.
But truly, and if you started out, Jessica, I was thinking about you with the statement of like, you're talking about real estate, you know, real estate agents, real estate people in real estate, it's weekends, it's nights. It's not when people are working during the day.
Which is why I'm not a full-time realtor.
Yeah. No, totally. I get that. But it's like, you have to, like, there's just so much that has to be done after hours. And if you set up those clear expectations with your customers, you set up those clear expectations with your family where you say, hey guys, I mean, I said this last month, hey guys, I'm going to be gone for 3 weeks over the next 4 weeks. Let's talk about it. Let's figure out what you're going to do and you're going to do, and I'm not going to be here. And how are we going to handle this? And also that question of, can I have your support? Can you guys help me with this? Like, can you support me with this? Because it's going to be temporary, but I got to do it for a little while. And I think that's a key, Jessica, especially what you were just talking about with you know, your aspirations and real estate and that sort of thing. It's like, you got to have your family on board, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So for our listeners, you know, one of the things that I was asked, I was talking with a friend of mine, and they're like, well, what about, I don't know what I'm good at. I don't know what it is. And so can you guys talk about, like, and I have my own thought on this. I read this book a long time ago, and I think the actual book was called The Edge or something. It was something very similar, but it had talked about, you don't have to be a decade-long expert in a thing. What it said, though, is that for you to start a business or start something that you're passionate about, you need to be 10% better than anybody else in your field. 10%. So for our listeners that we're talking about, yeah, it's just, and 10% better matched with a little confidence will get you a long way. Jessica, can you talk to us a little bit about that? I would love to hear your opinion on what if I don't know what I'm good at?
So I've said this before. I tell people, I think the secret is in one, God gave you gifts. What are the gifts that God gave you? We all have individual gifts, right? That. And then two, your story. What's your story? And so I think when you really dig deep into those two things, there's some answers there. And then I want to touch on that, what you said about the 10% thing. Mm-hmm. So I shared this story with someone about, you know, I was having this conversation with someone and I gave them a lot of information I shared, and turns out that, you know, they're in the same round of interviews that I'm in. And they were like, see, my husband tells you talk too much. Stop telling people all your business. I said, no. You don't understand. You don't understand. Here's the thing. I can give someone
sink ships.
Now, look, I can give someone my whole bag of tricks. Pause. I can give someone my whole bag of tricks. And guess what? Nobody do it like me.
They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. They're not going to make the cold remedy, girl. They're not gonna.
Right. And even if they do, they're not going to make it like you. And that's what I'll say. When you say 10%, no, it doesn't matter. If everybody's doing it, no one can do it like you, because you are one of a kind. So that's it. That's what I say.
Yeah, I think that's it. So if you're out there and you're thinking, oh, this sounds cool, I want to do this, I'm passionate about X, Y, and Z, but I don't know how to move forward, I don't know what to do, what is your one takeaway from today? What can you give to our listeners to give them that one bout of encouragement from your story, from starting your own side hustle, exploring things that you're passionate about, getting them motivated and giving them the courage to be able to take that step? What do you got?
I say just go. Just go. Just do it. Doesn't matter. Half-ass, whatever you want to do, just do it. Just go and just do it. Whatever that is. You know what it is. But you're just looking for all the reasons, the perfect time, the this, the that. Just do it. Just start.
Mm-hmm. Jamie, what is yours advice?
The fact that you brought up a couple of inventions that I didn't even know about, I'm like, what? So I would say, I love it. Just do it. Get started.
Pajamas.
Yeah, exactly. The pajamas. Which should totally be our team name someday, just like Team Pajamas. I'm just whatever. But I was gonna say, tell people. They talk about like when you have a goal, like if you tell people about what your goal is, they're going to help hold you accountable. I feel like the exact same thing. I think most people really do want to help you. They want to support you. They want to encourage you. And I think that the simple act of saying, hey, friends, hey, family, hey, whatever, coworkers, Facebook, I don't care. I'm thinking about doing this. Do you know anyone who knows how to do this that I could talk to? Hey, would you be interested if I was going to sell this? Do you think anyone would buy from me? Hey, my best marketing technique is I just came up with 3 new soup recipes. Does anyone want to try it and just give me feedback?
Yeah.
I think just literally telling your tribe, telling your community.
Yeah.
Here's
Did she know that question before right now? Did she?
No.
Was this?
No.
Oh,
what?
I was just wondering.
Wait,
if I prepped you on that question, no, you just that's just
I'm making this. I'm making this up on the fly. I have no idea.
No, I don't know. I know.
Lived
I'm against
life
prepping,
experience.
and,
This is what we're doing.
Coralyn, I get a lot of trouble over here.
No, and I would say, in the spirit of what we talked about last week for our listeners that listened to our Dash conversation about we have one life and we are actively living our life. If it's not now, then when? And if it's not you, then
so
who,
cliche,
right?
but it's real. Yeah,
it is, and it's true. And I know it's like written on probably a successory somewhere, but it is true that if you're not going to do it,
behind
then
me. It's behind me in the hotel room.
No, it's on that. It was on that can of wine.
Yeah.
But if we're going to truly live like a girl and be our true authentic self, then what's the worst that can happen? You fail, you make another decision, and we move on.
You're right,
and
you're right back where you started. Like what's the worst thing that can happen if they say no? You're just right back where you started. Who cares?
And you got a good story.
You got a good story because we love those stories.
Yes.
Oh man, this is a great conversation, ladies. And look at the time. We are over. Well, this is great. But so thank you for listening. I want to make sure that you follow us. Again, we are on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Our website is leadlikeagirllab.com. Check us out. Check out our merchandise. Also, watch us on YouTube. Somebody leave us a comment on our YouTube. I want you to see the banter, the laughing, Jamie's giant smile, like amazing. Jessica's
I want
red
to know,
lips.
do we remind you guys of like the Charlie's Angels, or are we like what kind of vibe do you get? I want to know.
Right? Or is it more like the girls from the Chipmunks, like those girls?
Oh no. The Golden Girls. I'll be that.
Dude, no, I'm going more Sex in the City than Golden Girls at this moment. Minus all the Sex in the City.
Golden Girls.
But all right, guys, thank you for joining us. Tune back in next week where you'll hear another episode. But on that, we're going to say goodbye and have a good night.
Bye.